Hey, good. How you doing?
Good, man. Let me make this my full screen.
I hope all is well there.
Man, I have no complaints whatsoever. It's been a busy day, but a good day.
I understand. We're going to jump right in. Let me pull up my bullet points and we're going to get into it. All righty. You did something so amazing, and we want to get into that. But first, I want to talk about your role in entertainment. You are, as we just said, TV host, pop culture expert. Many don't understand what that field or that industry consumes, or they don't understand what that is. Like, how do you become that? Tell us about that work and what you do.
Absolutely. You know, I started as a full-time entertainment news writer. It was my backup plan, and it ended up being like a 15-year blessing for me. So I started as an online entertainment journalist. I had my own column, a newsletter, and then I joined the team at AOL when they had Black Voices. And I was there for about 7 years. After a year of being at AOL, I joined the nationally syndicated Tom Joyner Morning Show. I was the youngest person to ever be on the show. I was like maybe 24 when I joined the show. And I did that for 6 out of the 7 years that I was at AOL. 2011, man, it was a really bad economy. We were going through a recession, and I was feeling burnt out. I was doing like 100,000 frequent flyer miles a year. I really had a rock star schedule, like home maybe on a Wednesday and half of a Thursday. And I realized that while my backup plan had been a significant blessing to me, both professionally and financially, I wasn't fulfilled. And so TV was why I got into this business. And so I walked away from 2 good jobs in a bad economy and started putting a plan towards getting on television. And so I did a good run as a subject matter expert on CNN and their sister channel HLN, and started doing talk shows like Wendy Williams and Meredith Vieira, and a whole bunch of roundup shows for networks like VH1 and E. And ultimately, after getting a great opportunity to co-host The View, I signed with a talent agency because a lot of the stuff I'd done on my own. Started booking some cable specials. I did a series for Travel Channel, some movie specials for the Epix Network, and a whole live broadcast for NFL Network during one of the Super Bowls. And then booking some one-off digital hosting content work and stuff as well. And so that's like the Cliff Notes version to how I've gotten to this point, man. And it's an interesting time to be working in TV and digital content. I'm always glad that I embraced digital content and communication early on, because everybody's a digital talk show host at this point.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Now, you recently had a birthday, and you decided to do something special, not just for yourself, but for the world, really. You did a remake of That's What Friends Are For, which is a Dionne Warwick classic hit from the 80s. Tell us about that process and how it came about.
Yeah, Cornell, it's interesting. Like, this time has been reflective. I've been able to really really just try to focus and organize and do some things. And but leading up to my birthday, I wasn't in the most creative space. I had to self-tape, put myself on video for some TV auditions, and I had some other potential entertainment work that I had to kind of make myself find some inspiration to create content for. And so I kind of was moving towards a creative space. I was kind of in a flow, and I was laying in the bed one night and I said, I want to do something for my birthday. And I had been on a couple of my friends' birthday Zooms. And I just wanted to do something that wasn't about me for my birthday. I wanted to kind of do something that inspired people. I've been getting messages from some of my friends who are extroverts, who are really struggling with the whole stay-at-home order, who really are missing the humanity of connection and being connected to people. And so I laid in bed and I was like, what can I do? And so I came up with the vision for this project, but immediately I started second-guessing myself, thinking it's too daunting of a task. It's going to be too much. This is beyond my scope. And a lot of people don't know this, but back in 2011, I had a record deal. I was signed to EMI Records, not as an artist, but I did a presenting project. Actually, I did this project. I keep it on my bookshelf, but it was called Jawn Murray Presents Untapped.
I remember that.
Yeah,
yes.
It was a collection of 10 unsigned artists that were, all looking for an opportunity to have greater exposure. So I've always loved music. I've always fancied myself as a closeted A&R director. And So I came up with this idea. The next day, I just got up and started calling people. I had a working list of maybe like 12 people. And of course, you start adding on to the list. And in total, I probably reached out to almost 30 people, and there are 24 people on the project. So I got a whole lot of yeses. And I got a whole lot of yeses with very little instruction, very little direction. I just knew I wanted to do something special. And as I started to get the videos in from the artists, it really was something special. And by the time I started putting it together, because I self-edited the video, then I reached out to a music producer named Phil Walker, and I just asked him to play piano under the artist to kind of give it a musical thread, where he created this whole original score under them. And this project really became something that was bigger than me. And the notes and the feedback that I've gotten from people who have been encouraged and inspired by it has meant more to me than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah, I watched it and I smiled like a proud parent. You know how your parent goes to a recital and they see their kid playing for the first time. I was just like, oh my! It was just something beautiful about it. And you mentioned Phil Walker with the musical score. It was just beautiful how he played underneath and it followed everybody. It was no breaks. It was just, what was that whole process like for you? Because I know what editing is like, and
yeah,
I can only imagine.
So I edited the acapella video. When I reached out to the artist, I kind of mapped out what I wanted people to sing. And so I knew what key the song was in. And there've been some really dynamic videos out where people, have done to inspire people and stuff. But a lot of them were a hodgepodge of, it was like a gumbo of singing. Like everybody was in different keys and had different approaches and all of that. And that's great. It works. But I kind of wanted to do something that was a little more sonically appeasing in the totality of the song. And so I kind of, I was, as one of my friends called me, I was playing the bootleg Quincy Jones. And I mapped out where I wanted people to go and where I thought their placements, should be. And so I sent people instructions of what to sing. I sent them the key. I sent them the original video so they could reference whoever's part it may be while also making it their own. And so I kind of had a vision for how I wanted to. So I literally took each of the pieces of the puzzle and I edited it myself. So initially I was going to do an acapella video. There's a gospel artist by the name of Charles Butler who we were talking about it. He said, you really should get a musician to play under it. So we literally did a group FaceTime with Phil Walker at 1 o'clock in the morning. And he sat up in his bed and was like, who died? And we was like, nope, nobody died, but I need you to do something for me. And when I told him what I was doing, he was like, he got inspired, even in the conversation. And so I sent him the file. It was a large file. And I told him, I said, listen, I had a timeline for when I wanted to do this, but I just want it to be great. So you just take your time and do whatever you want to do. And he exceeded all expectations. And he's a touring artist. I mean, he's done R&B and gospel dates and toured with some really amazing artists himself. And he is a producer that's on the rise. And so he was really great because this is also giving him a great showcase because people, particularly some of the artists that are on the virtual collaboration are like, yeah, when they let us out the house, can you connect me with him? I might need to work with him. So, it really this all came together in 72 hours.
Amazing.
I picked up the phone. 3 days later, I had a video. I sent it to him. 2 days later, I had a final product. And I held on to it for a couple of days because BET had done their primetime special, the SOS special. And Kirk Franklin had released a remix of his song Smile, which was like a virtual collaboration. And so I didn't want that to have to compete with what I was doing because this wasn't about competition or who got the best virtual situation. It was about just making sure that this had an open playing field to inspire people, to connect with people, and to remind them of the greatness of some of the people that are included on the virtual collaboration.
Absolutely. Just speaking of that, I want to just give a list of some of the people: Angie Stone, Shirley Murdoch, Dave Hollister, Coco from SWV, Ruben Studdard, who we haven't seen in a while. It was great to see him. The legendary Mesa, Kenny Lattimore, Avery Sunshine, Shanice, Lexi, my girl, Ann Nesby, who took us to church.
Ann Nesby said,
I said, you leave it up to Ann Nesby to go gospel on you, baby.
Ann Nesby will show off every time you put a mic in front of her here.
Yolanda Adams, and of course the lovely Leandria Johnson. I'm curious, who was the first person you called out of the artists, and what was that conversation like?
The first person I called was my very first friend who happened to be a celebrity, which is Coco from SWV. When I was an intern in this business. I was still in college. It was 1999. I interned at a station in Washington, D.C. called WPGC. And Coco had her solo album out at the time. She was promoting the single Sunshine. And she came up to the station, and we met at station. I just started talking to her. I told her she looked like somebody else. And she was like, ew, no, I don't. And she just took a liking to me. She gave me her telephone number that night. She would call me at the dorm at college. And we just became friends well before I was anybody. She just liked me. I think she saw something in me, but she also likes my personality. So anything that I do that is a showcase of good vocals, I'm always going to call her first. So she was the first one that I called. And then after that, I just started calling people, man. It was like male, female, and it's a little female dominant because the truth is that when it comes to vocalists, like I love male singers, but you know, it's something about the female voice that really resonates with me. But Kenny Lattimore is one of the greatest human beings on earth, in addition to being a supreme vocalist. But the fact that I got my favorite R&B vocalist of all time, Dave Hollister, to do this for me. And flat is a very high key for a man to sing in. It just meant everything to me.
Yes. Anybody that you wanted to get on that wasn't quite available or something?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I got a couple loving no's. You know, one of the greats told me, you know, honey, I just can't record another video. I've been doing so many of them. And then there were a few people that are homeschooling, and they were like, if I had a few more days, I could knock it out for you. Layla Hathaway really wanted to cut a video for me, but she had so she was moving and just could not make it work. But you know, there's some people that I'm a huge fan of. I just don't have their number in my phone. So everybody that's on the virtual collaboration, all 24 artists, they're friends of mine. And there are other artists I could have called. Like this really was like a God-led vision. And like I said, I started with like a working 12 and just started adding on. And they're like Grammy-winning, you know, household names on here. And then there's just some special people like, you know, Paula Champion is somebody who tours with Angie Stone and Robert Glasper. She works in jazz circles. She was also on BET's Sunday Best. I love her smooth tone. And so people were just like, oh my God, like her singing is amazing. And then folks were reminded of the greatness of Trinice, who rose to stardom on American Idol. You know, people fashioned her as the heir apparent to Whitney Houston, and she's been working consistently since American Idol as both a Broadway and an international theater darling. And so she's a great friend, and I love her smooth tone, and I knew she'd be great. Selena Johnson and I became friends in 2001, and she's somebody that we've maintained relationship. And I just knew that rich texture, and like certain people have to yabba dabba do you to give you some feeling to emote something on a song. Selena Johnson's tone and texture of her voice, there's just a story in that alone. And so I knew I wanted her richness and that raspiness to just start this thing off. And so, man, it just really came together in a beautiful way. Folks are trying to get me to find inspiration to do some type of follow-up project. And then I see that a few other people have been inspired to do some similar projects, one a little eerily similar to mine. But, you know, here's the thing. I would love to see lots more people doing virtual collaborations because it's not an original concept. I just want folks to take what I did and expound upon it. Be better, do it greater, you know, be unique, you know.
Yes.
But there was one video, one of the artists on mine sent to me and was like, oh. And I listened to that video and I said, I guess I feel like Kirk Franklin felt the first time he heard James Fortune, you know.
Right. I'm curious, has Miss Warwick got wind of it? Has she got any response? Absolutely.
There is a great journalist out of New York that works for the New York Daily News named Carew Daniels, and he interviewed me because he wanted to do a piece on the story. It was a very amazing piece. What he did tell me at the time of the conversation was that he had reached out to Dionne Warwick's camp and got a statement from her where she gave her praises of what I had done and said she really loved it. And then her team liked it so much that they sent out a 35th anniversary reminder about the song, which I didn't even know the song was having a milestone anniversary when I decided to choose this song as the virtual collaboration. And they also shared the video in the press announcement. So I just thought that was really spectacular, not only to get her well wishes in a written statement, but for her team to embrace the project and to promote it as well.
Yeah, it was so good, and I'm so happy that you got a chance to get that recognition from her. Listen, you're talking about the humanity of connection with this whole project, the remake of That's What Friends Are For. Talk to us about why that's important during this season.
Well, it's funny. Last night I had a group FaceTime with a group of people I call my brunch bunch. So ever since 2012, when I'm not on the road, and I do travel a lot, but I have brunch with the same group of friends. I mean, they gather whether I'm home or not. But like for me, it's an appointment event. Like, my mother knows not to call me at a certain time on Sundays because she knows, oh no, he's out at brunch with his friends. And it is, and it's not just about the gathering, but like sometimes it's therapy. One of us are going through something. It's 5 guys and 1 girl. And Heather is like the mama bear of the bunch, and she gets us together. And, we've got a resident womanizer in the crew, and we got a fitness guru who's always telling us we shouldn't be eating this and shouldn't be eating that. But after you give him a couple of libations, he don't even pay attention to what anybody's doing. And it is a motley crew of loving, healthy, cathartic energy. And I mean, sometimes in the summer, man, I meet them at like 12:30 in the afternoon, and I'm walking in the house at 11 o'clock at night because we have marathon days. And so, like, I miss not being able to get with them. And so, like, this is like week number, I think 8 or 9 for me being in the house. So not seeing them on a Sunday and I'm home for 9 weeks, like, I miss that. But beyond that, I have to be honest with you. I've been going through this, the whole self-quarantine, stay-at-home order with my mom and my younger brother. It's been really great doing this like a little Italian family. I'm playing chef quarantine. Because if I didn't go into the entertainment industry, I would have probably went to culinary school. And I've always been a really good cook, and I never really have time to cook as much as I would like to. But I've got to roll out the recipes and pull out some of my favorite Food Network chef recipes and all types of things. So I've been really encouraged by having family here, by walking 3 and 4 miles a day, and finding this time to reset and replan for whatever our new normal and our new future is going to look like.
Yeah. And God be with us in that journey. Yes. I can't have you here and not talk pop culture.
Absolutely.
It's your thing. So I have to just throw out a few subjects. Just want to get your commentary. First, we just learned, and many might not know this yet, but Twitter has announced that they will indefinitely, all of their employees will work from home indefinitely. What are your thoughts about that decision? And do you think that's going to be something we see with other corporations?
What's funny is that was one of the conversations we had with the brunch bunch last night, because one of my friends does, in addition to being a musician, he does commercial real estate. And we had this debate about if this was going to become a new normal for a lot of people. He didn't believe so. I think he doesn't believe so because he won't be selling that much commercial real estate. But right. Heather, our mama bear, she and I have been telling him that we've been seeing this as an upward trend. I know several friends whose employees have already gotten rid of their commercial real estate space. There have been a few other businesses that have been phasing this out. So I'm not surprised by this. The reality is that both businesses and I've also learned some churches, they're really benefiting from the whole stay-at-home order, because while there are some businesses that you need customers there to thrive, people are seeing that if I don't need this workspace and you are still as productive as home, that's saving our company a lot of overhead. A lot of my friends who are in leadership at churches and things said, while they were nervous about closing and they will at some point return to the gathering of people without them having to pay electricity and a water bill and for security and all the ancillary expenses that come with having a church open, and their giving and the donations and the tithes and offerings have not necessarily gone down. They actually are seeing a surplus and they're moving in the back. So I think there are going to be some businesses that move with this model. Unfortunately, there are certain businesses that they just can't function unless you actually gather there.
Yeah, so true. You're a entertainment guru, I say, in the space of Hollywood, and there are 2 ladies who are not necessarily Hollywood individuals, but they're definitely A-listers in my mind, and that is Erykah Badu and Jill Scott. Did you watch the little thing they had on IG the other day?
I did. I love their versus battle. I thought it was appropriate. I mean, just the music was a vibe. I love the camaraderie that they showed, and how they celebrated each other and actually told some very personal stories. You know, it's always great when you see people don't become what other folks want them to be. And Erica and Jill were two artists that were pitted against each other. When the Roots had the song that Jill Scott had written for them, the record company made them put a more recognizable name on the record, and they took Jill Scott off the record and had to put Erykah Badu on that song they had when they won MCA Records. I can't think about the name of the song, and so that was the thing that kind of created this professional entertainment industry rivalry between the two of them. But it was a rivalry that neither one of them ever embraced. And I think one time on the Grammys, the Roots actually performed that song, and both Jill and Erica came out and did it with them for the first time. And I always love these stories, man. Like, you know, people don't know this, but like, you know, well, you know, if you saw the New Edition movie, you know, Johnny Gill was brought into New Edition to replace Ralph Tresvant in the group. And ultimately, they became best friends. And to this day, remain best friends. And so they were supposed to be two people that shouldn't have liked each other, because the powers that be was trying to use one to unseat the other one. And in the end, they talked, they communicated, ended up being in the group together, and remain best of friends to this day. And I love when we can overcome the challenges that folks try to set us up for.
Yeah, yeah. You're a visionary. Is there a verses that you would want to see in amongst the music community? Is there anybody you have in mind that you would like to see?
I've been telling folks I want to see Vicky Winans and Dottie Peoples. I want to see two women and a whole lot of sequins and some bedazzled updos and big sunglasses. I want to see them. You know, the Babyface and Teddy Riley one was cool, but sonically, I would like to see Babyface and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Yes.
I think as far as their catalogs are concerned, they're more equally matched. I wouldn't mind seeing Teddy Riley do another versus against Pharrell Williams, more like the pupil and the protege, because sonically they've both done R&B, pop, hip hop, and some other things. They both had records out themselves, and I think for me, that would feel a little more organic than the Teddy Riley and Babyface. There are probably some other interesting matchups that we could do. Someone said something about Alicia Keys and John Legend maybe doing like a piano versus, and that could be interesting. I don't necessarily need both of them to play and sing. I'd rather them play the records. But it'd be and maybe one of the living legends, you know, maybe like have Frankie Beverly play his records up against Charlie Wilson or something.
Yeah, now that would be good. That would be good. That's a good one. Y'all pick that up and make that happen.
Madonna and Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
It would be cool too.
Now, we got to talk one other major event that has happened while we've been in quarantine. I think it was just so appropriate. And they didn't even plan it like this, but God worked it out. But the Clark Sisters movie, The First Ladies of Gospel. Give me your commentary. I know you saw it. What's your commentary?
Yeah, man. I thought that was probably the best biopic Lifetime has done to date. I will start by saying that it was very well done. I would have maybe liked to have seen it as a miniseries, maybe taken the New Edition approach to it so that they could have unpacked the story in the later years a little more. They kind of had to wrap up the end of that movie in like 20 minutes. And so you kind of rush through why Dorinda was suicidal. You rush through why Karen almost died in the hospital and was in a coma. And so, you know, you don't really understand the brevity of why Twinkie ended up in a mental institution. And so I would have liked to have seen it like maybe even as a 2-part mini-series or something where they could have really taken the time at the end. But overall, I thought it was amazing. What Donald Lawrence was able to do with 5 women who didn't know each other and had never sang together, having them come together and sing and match the sound of the Clark Sisters like that, I thought that was incredible. Anjanou Ellis can pretty much play anything. She is probably the unsung hero of Hollywood. The most valuable player that you just may not know. And like Meryl Streep, could probably just play just about anybody. Like I jokingly said, I want Anjanou Ellis to play Donald Trump in the Donald Trump movie because she's just that good of an actress. But I enjoyed the music. I'm glad they sang live. I enjoyed the storytelling. It was very well done. And I'm really glad that this mega group who has had lots of trials and tribulations are getting their flowers while they're here to appreciate it, and people are being reminded of the impact that they've had and the greatness of their music.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Well, before we wrap, I have to play a quick little game that we play sometimes, and it's my 5 favorites.
Okay.
I know that you're a foodie, a cook, and all that stuff, so I'm going to play my 5 favorites foodie edition with you. Okay.
Okay. Cool. That's
so
cool.
I'll give you 2 options, and you just tell me which one is your favorite. So,
okay.
Fine dining or hole in the wall.
That's tough for me. But I'm going to go with fine dining because I may have bougie tendencies.
Okay, I got you. Peach cobbler or sweet potato pie?
I'd say who was making them, but is the sweet potato pie warm or has it been sitting out for a while?
It's warm.
You know, when you're a foodie, you have to factor in extenuating circumstances. I think I'm going to go with sweet potato pie.
Okay. Barbecue or seafood boil?
These are a lot harder than I thought they would be. Seafood boil.
Okay. Dinner or dessert?
Oh, dinner.
Okay. Last, Popeyes or Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A all day. Listen, not only do I love Chick-fil-A and I love their sandwich, but those are the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life. Like I've only done maybe curbside fooding 3 times over the last 9 weeks. And I went once for myself, and then once I went back to Chick-fil-A to get some food for my mom. And in addition to ordering on the app and being safe and them having the mask on and the gloves and all the things, when the young kid brought me my food, he said, "God bless you." Like, what type of customer service? If I was an atheist, I'd probably be offended. But that's the best customer service. You treat me right, you were safe with my food, and you want God to bless me after I eat it. And I haven't said my grace yet. That's good customer. So Chick-fil-A all day for me.
All day. Tell our listeners how they can find the video, That's What Friends Are For remake, and how they can learn more about what you have going on.
Yes, you can find the That's What Friends Are For virtual collaboration. It's on all of my platforms. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at my full name, JAWNMURRAY. It's also on Facebook, and so just add world to the end, Jawn Murray World, JAWNMURRAY World, and you can find it there. And I'm active on all my platforms, a little different approach to each one of them, but hit me up, follow your boy, and let me know what you think of the video.
Yes, certainly. Well, John, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, and stay safe and stay well. Best of luck.
Man, thank you for the invitation. Thanks for all that you're doing. And you had to have just got dressed up to do this today, man, because you can't be dressing up like that just to be around the crib. Like, there's a whole lot of fashion there's a whole lot of fashion just to be in the crib, my man.
I got the t-shirt on.
You got full wrist action and everything going on. Come on, man.
I did a little bit.
You know I have pajama pants on at the bottom of this video.
Well, that's better than what my boy did. The Wayans brother. What's his name?
Oh, Keenan Ivory Wayans.
Keenan. Yeah. Oh my.
Yeah. That's a whole nother talk show topic. Like, you just walking around or your house with your dong swinging in front of your kids like that. Like, I might need to call Child Protective Services.
Right. That is crazy. John, my best to you. It was great talking to you, sir.
Thanks, man. Anytime.
All right. Take care.